Well, good afternoon everyone. I'm just setting up a few fences for the cows tonight. We haven't had any rain in the last 3 weeks, so things are starting to get dry. Usually I would normally split this paddock into 3 for the cows, so 3 breaks, but I've run a wire up here splitting it in half, and then this fence here is splitting this half into half, so I'm going to get 4 days out of here. Really probably should have put that trough up this end of the paddock near the gate, because then I'd only have to split it in half, not put a dog leg in it like I've done. But it is a bit higher over there and it can get wet, so that was our thinking. So if we take a look at the top though, you can see how dry it is. It's lacking in moisture, although I did just pull this ragwort plant out before and there is a little bit of moisture underneath, so it's not all bad just yet. But it's not that unusual for it to be dry at this time of the year. We are in the middle of summer. Getting these 30 to 31 degree days like we have been having certainly doesn't help though. It just sucks the moisture out of the ground. At least there's a few clouds around today and it has been a lot cooler than it has been. But when it goes dry like this and we don't get any rain, the grass growth slows right down. And to help compensate with that, the cows have been on about a 22-day rotation, which means that after they would have grazed a break, they wouldn't go back on there for another 22 days, so they get 22 days of regrowth. But now, by splitting this paddock into 4 instead of 3, I'm going to try and push my rotation out to about a 30-day round, which means it just gives the paddocks just a little bit longer to recover before they go in them next. And just like that other paddock, I would usually only get a day in here and a day in that paddock over here, but I've split them in half, so instead of getting 2 days in each, they've got 4 days out of them now. And that's how I effectively push that rotation out. And the 4 bulls that are out with the heifers at grazing, these are them here, so they've come home. And we'll just run them around the farm in sort of areas where the cows don't graze. So we have got quite a few races that have quite a bit of grass up the sides of them. So we'll just sort of lock the bulls in there for a day or two and they just sort of work their way around the farm. And that's one of the things about our summers down here. You can pretty much guarantee that we're going to go into a drought at some point within our season. It is just really the case of how long that drought's going to be and when it's going to start. And because I'm giving them less area, so they're getting less to eat, that's why I've got to make up the rest of their diet with a supplement. And that's why I've got this maize here. There's 10 of these wall panels, like 1, 2, 3, etc. down to 10. And that's the 5th one there. So halfway through the stack would be there. So I'm a little bit past that. And that's not too bad because I started feeding this out in September. And I've only made it sort of just past halfway, so I was trying to sort of conserve as much of this maize as possible, but because we had a little bit of a hard spring, I used a little bit more than I wanted to and then I've sort of slowed back from spring through to now. They've only been getting about 500 kilos wet weight, and now that it's getting dry and they're getting less to eat, I am upping it. So about today they'll get about 800 kilos wet weight, and I'll probably increase that as it gets drier, because I don't know when it's going to rain. I'll probably increase that to probably about 1,000 kilos, and they're getting about 300 kilos of PK as well. So I've got this area left of maize silage, and this is going to last me until the end of February, hopefully early March, because that's the other problem that I run into. I don't know when our maize crop's going to be ready, and I need this bunker for storing all the new crop in. I don't want to leave any of this here for the next season, because once I fill this bunker up with our maize, which is over there, so ideally I want the rest of this pit finished at the day that the maize is harvested, or within say a day or two. I suppose I could move whatever's left into another spot and then feed it out, which is always a possibility, but it's a little bit harder to sort of get it lined up But yeah, I don't know, we'll see nearer the time when the other maize is going to be ready. We'll load this up and go and feed the cows. There's always some that comes out of the auger tube there. We might as well not waste it either. And then you would have seen me do this before, but add a little bit of water, just so it's more palatable. It's not like eating dry wheat bix then. Well, I don't know if you can tell, but it is seriously warm now. I said it was a bit cooler today earlier on, and nah, it's not. Supposedly there's supposed to be chance of thunder showers tonight or this evening, and it kind of looks like it is building like way out there. Can't imagine we'll get anything out of it, but I don't know, you never know, I guess. Just having a look in here, because this is where the cows are coming tomorrow. I am going to top it because look at all those thistles. But I usually get a day out of here, and I'm just seeing if I can stretch it for 2. Half of me saying nah, just give it to them, top it and give them the whole lot, and the other half saying split it because they'll be better off in the long term. So I think I might split it. But while I'm here, I thought we'd just have a little check on the maize. Look how tall it is, it's crazy. I'll go in here a little bit. Man, this maize is cranking. Look how tall it is. I'll reach as far as I can up. So I'm standing at the base of the plant and that's as far as I can reach. And there's another, oh, there'd be another near metre on that. Must be 3 metres tall at least. But they've started getting their cobs, double cobs. This maize is absolutely cranking. If we could get a bit of rain on it, it would be certainly beneficial for the cobs. I don't think it'll put any more energy into growing taller. I think it'll all just go into the cobs now. But I reckon it's going to be ready at like the end of February. We were late planting, probably 10 days late planting for what we were last year, but I just think it's had more sunlight hours this year, or growing, however they measure the maize growth, but it's had 20% more, or it did have. And yeah, I'm predicting end of February, which wouldn't be a bad thing, but it all depends on how much rain we get. Like if we don't get any, then it's just going to wilt away and we'll have to get it off a bit earlier. But it is what it is. It's still a good crop, so that's one thing. But I just, yeah, like I was saying earlier, I need to sort of time it with how much maize I've got in the stack there. Doesn't matter if I've got a bit left over, because I can always just put it in the pit down here, and I usually feed that pit through from maize harvest through to the end of the season. I ended up splitting it in half. Thought that'd be better. This stuff's called prickly pear. You just pull it out. Oh, kick the dirt off. Mainly because of them, hence the name. But they are a weed. Those 2 paddocks over there were real bad with them, but I've just been pulling them out year after year, and they sort of get less and less. It's the only way to really get rid of them. I suppose we could spray maybe. It doesn't take too long to pull them out. Well, the cows are happy. I probably made these breaks a little bit smaller than the other side, but it's not going to matter in the scheme of things. A little bit green down here too, because these soils are a little bit heavier. It is starting to dry it up on the hill there more. And I guess the big question is, are we heading for a drought? And I would tend to say probably yes at the moment, because there's certainly no rain on the forecast. And if there is, it usually gets pushed back, and we don't get anything. So we have got measures in place to farm against it, because that is our biggest threat through the season, is probably a drought. So we try and minimize that as much as possible. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. If you did, give it a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. And apart from that, see you next time. Well, not thunder showers, but it's spitting, which is good. Don't know how much we'll get.